Hi everybody, I'm Chad.
I'm Brandon.
We have like a special edition K-pop, so I feel a little off. But we're super excited because we're gonna go down deep into the lyrics of How You Like That.
Yeah.
And kind of a language breakdown, but also kind of maybe even more so than a lyric breakdown, kind of a basis for learning some Korean from it or learning to recognize Korean. For me, like understanding Korean, knowing Korean has really helped a lot, I feel like, with my ability to connect to K-pop groups, so in this case Blackpink, and to just kind of gain a greater appreciation for them as individuals, as a group, with like the lyrics they've written, and kind of the feeling behind songs. I feel like if you can understand it in its original language, it's just that much better.
Well, I feel like it's so much more fun too.
Yeah.
When you listen to the lyrics and when you sing along,
right,
it's like a whole different take on it.
It really helps you be able to sing along because you're like, oh, they're saying this, and I'm hearing this over and over again.
Because like I listen to Blackpink and I'm like, I like wish I could sing, but I like don't even know the beginning of where I would start.
I think if you don't have somebody to help tell you what it means or listen for patterns, then it is a little more challenging.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do for you guys, and we're going to do it through Brandon as a complete beginner to Korean.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where this idea came from, is that Brandon did have a desire to he's like, hey, I want to know what these mean. I noticed he was asking me a lot what the lyrics meant.
Every song.
Right? And I was like, you know what, this would be really useful for a lot of people because I like being able to understand the lyrics, but also when I hear something new, I go look it up and I'm like, what does that mean? And so it's helped my Korean as well.
Yeah.
So kind of what the plan is for this, we're going to go through all the Korean lyrics as we kind of watch the music video. And we're going to break down up to like each word so that you can understand.
I'm like so
you can understand what the words mean. With you being a beginner, even with me being a fairly advanced speaker of Korean, there's something here for us and everybody in between. I like fully believe that, right? Because you can gain a deeper understanding of how to use a word, or you can learn what the words mean and just begin to know how to use that or understand it when you hear Korean.
Totally. And like direct translation versus like what like the feeling is trying to convey. Right. We're
going to kind of get into both, right? Because we want to know what the words mean, but we also want to know the feeling behind it so that we understand the song.
Totally.
So we're not going to get too much into the Korean alphabet on this one. We're going to kind of go Romanized. But if that is something that people are interested in, we've talked about doing a very deep dive into it, and then we can send that as a video to people who are interested. So let us know, send us an email if you're interested, but that's something that eventually you have to do. If you want to learn Korean, you have to learn the Korean alphabet, and you have to learn it pretty well because it's so important for pronunciation.
Yeah. And
it's quicker. In the beginning, yes, it's going to slow you down a little bit to learn a new alphabet, but in the end, it's worth it 1,000 times over, and it is not as hard as you think.
Yeah, well, you just taught me like on your channel, and it honestly, like I feel like it came way quicker than I thought.
It does,
so I was like shocked by that.
And I think it makes learning Korean way less frustrating and way more fun. Yeah. We're just going to take it line by line with the Korean lyrics, and we're going to enjoy the music video at the same time. So it's going to be fun.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Okay, that is our first Korean line.
Yeah.
And so that line is 보란 듯이 무너져서. Okay, so this one was one that was a little confusing to me when I first read it. So, so the way that this one works, right, is 무너져서, that part, if you listen for that, and here's it romanized, 무너져서 is to crumble. Okay.
Oh, it's a verb.
Yeah, it's a verb, to crumble, right?
No, just and that's how she sings it. Okay.
Nailed it, right? We got you for the singing part, right? But the 보란 듯이, so 듯이, if you see it here, if you look at just that syllable, it looks like 듯, but there's a Korean rule where it becomes a 듯이. So she says, we'll listen to it one more time.
Okay.
You hear that? 보란 듯이?
Yeah.
Okay. So that 듯이 means as if or just like.
Okay.
So that 보란 듯이, it's a very actually hard thing for me to understand in Korean. It's one of those things that I feel like does not translate perfectly, right? But essentially what I see it as is like kind of like as you can see me, like as you can see, like I crumbled, right? And the way that the feeling behind this is like I crumbled before your eyes, right? Because like you're seeing it, right?
Oh, okay.
So let's listen to it one more time, make sure we can hear it, right? Because I think that's the important part, especially in the beginning, is hearing it and getting the pronunciation so that when you hear it, you can sing along with it. You can kind of get the feeling.
Okay.
Right? 무너졌어.
So cool.
So to me, the most useful thing for this is the dishy, like the dishy.
Okay.
So the verb form of this is like if you say something something dishy, it means like this, right? And so in her case, it's like you can see me. So in Korean, whenever people are teaching Korean, I feel like they do this. They say momo, which just means like whatever. Momo dashi, like kind of just like is the feeling of dashi.
Okay.
Right. And so that one's a little more complex, but if you're into Korean a little bit, that's a verb form that you can kind of start to understand and use a little bit more in your practice, I guess.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I don't know how useful that one is for beginners because it's very contextual.
Yeah.
You have to use it along with something else.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
But I think it's still useful to listen to.
Okay. So in English, the romanization, when they translated directly, they almost took out the dashi part because they probably didn't know what to do with it. I crumble before your eyes? Isn't that what it said?
Yeah,
like
they're more going for the feeling
Okay.
of this one, right? And so that's what you'll see in the lyric translations on popular websites.
Yeah.
They're trying to give you the feeling. They're not always giving you the direct
Okay,
translation.
that makes sense, but it's almost like, as you can see, I crumble before your eyes.
Right. It's not even, but it's, the literal translation is more of like, as you can see, like, I crumble, right? There's nothing about eyes in there.
Really?
It's kind of as you can see.
So they inferred that.
They kind of infer that based off the feeling.
See, but
and I agree with the feeling.
Yeah.
But it's not an exact translation.
Yeah, but honestly, like when you just explained that and like picturing like an emotional like song lyric, as you can see, I crumble is way more fitting than like I crumble before your eyes.
Right. Let's get into the next one. This one's a little tougher, but I really like it. Okay, so that one's a little more complex to say, but when you break it down, it's not that hard. So 바닥을, so 바닥 actually means ground. 바닥 is the ground.
Oh, okay.
And we won't get into some of the grammar things related.
바닥?
바닥. Yeah, so 바닥을 뚫고, let's hear her say that. 바닥을 뚫고. You hear that? 바닥을 뚫고.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so you hear that? 바닥을 뚫고. Literal meaning of that is to go through the ground. So the typical translation you'll see is hit rock bottom. That's not what it means. Like, yes, I love the feeling of that in English, but that's not what the translation is. 바닥을 뚫고, it's like to go through the ground.
Wow.
Okay. 바닥을 뚫고. Let's hear it one more time and then go into the next one. So 초 means I. She's saying, so this is where the I, 초. So, okay, so we're going to get into this is the most useful part, I think. So 초 is I. It's not too important for what we're doing right now, but 지하까지. 지하까지. Yeah, okay.
지하까지.
So 지하 means literally underneath. And so you'll see it used so much. 지하 is a very, very like useful word in Korean.
지하.
Yeah.
Underneath.
Underneath, right? So basically 지하까지, 까지 means like until. So going until the underneath. She's gone through the ground and going all the way until she hits underneath the ground.
Wow.
So it's ground level and then deeper, which is accurate, right? Hit rock bottom and sunk deeper, right?
Yeah.
That's the accurate.
But basically, it's like she went past.
She went through the ground and then deeper, right?
She went like further than like rock bottom.
Yeah, she's through the ground, right?
Yeah.
And so there's two very useful things in here. So jiha is the first one. So you'll hear jiha for basement. It's the root word of basement.
Oh, cool.
So jiha chung means basement. Chung is floor.
Okay.
Like not ground floor, but like
Okay.
which floor you live on.
Okay.
Like first floor, second floor.
Yeah.
So jiha chung. So that means like basically underneath floor.
Okay.
Okay. The other one is for subway. So the word for train is chor. So
Okay.
jiha chor literally means under train, beneath train.
Oh.
Jiha chor.
Okay.
So jiha is a very useful word that you'll see. Like if you're learning Korean,
Yeah,
you will
yeah.
hear the word jiha.
Jiha.
Yeah. And then kaji is like a very, very common word. It means like until. Like up until this point.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of context with kaji and there's a lot of different ways to use it. But I would start out with at least recognizing it, right? Like recognize kaji. Like if you hear, like you'll probably hear it a lot. I think it probably occurs a decent amount in K-pop, but even more so just in everyday conversation.
Yeah. Okay.
So like
Up until this point,
yeah,
kaji.
if I have to ask when like a homework assignment is due or when I have to finish something by, I would say onje, and onje means when.
Yeah.
And then I would use kaji, like until. Until, like when until, right? The grammar's backwards for us.
Yeah.
But onje kaji.
Onje kaji.
Right? And kaji is until. So it's a very, very useful word. So this line, like right away, we get like some really useful stuff. Let's hear it one more time just so we can listen to it. Chihakaji, you hear that?
Yeah. And honestly, like the pronunciation will literally like my pronunciation will literally come from like listening to them say it.
But that's the best way is to
copycat.
imitate, right?
Yeah,
You imitate what you hear.
True.
Okay, so this one's a really interesting one to me because I had to get some help on this from our translator because I was confused, right? We're going to listen to it first. There's the kaji. Let's hear it one more time.
Wait, I'm already feeling like so much more invested in the lyrics. No, I'm serious.
Exactly.
Like I'm feeling so much more like involved in the
more
song.
effort you make into the lyrics, the more connected you can be to the song, in my opinion,
yeah.
right? Okay, so this one's interesting, right? Because the translation that they gave us on this one, I think, was to grab onto like the last bit of hope. I can't remember. It was something like that, right?
Yeah.
But literally, what the first word is ot, which is clothing.
Oh,
So what I was
that?
so confused by is like if you like the ot 자락 잡겠다고. So I'm reading that and I'm like, this looks like grabbing the edge of clothing. I'm like, what does this have to do with hope? Right? And so the way so literally like what they're saying in the music video is like kind of like grabbing onto the edge of the clothing.
Like
right?
desperate. Like hope.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's where the idea from hope comes from.
Okay.
Right? So for this one, we're less concerned about learning as many of the words. We're going to learn one word from it, but more of picking up the sounds of it.
Okay.
So the first part is ot, which is clothing, but again, not too important right now. Gut means end. Very, very common one that you're going to see a lot.
Okay.
So ot jarak. Okay.
The end of the clothing.
Yeah.
And she pulls off her like almost like she pulls off a piece of clothing in that moment.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah. So you hear the okutjarak, right?
Yes.
And then japta literally means to grab. Japta. Grab. Yeah. They don't use the full form of it. A little complex for what we're doing right now, but just listen for the jap. Okay. So pause that, right? So we're not going to focus too much on like the words from this one, but there's some useful words. Ot is clothing, gut is end, and then jap is like the verb stem of grab.
Okay.
This is an interesting one. I love this line actually. We see the same word as before, I, chol. Chol means I.
Okay.
A lot of words, a lot of ways to say I, but that's how they're using it in this song. So very good that we can just recognize that again. We're already seeing something that we've learned, right?
Yeah.
Right? And then nopi means like hi. So the translation that I saw online was just kind of like reaching out with my hands, but it's a little more specific in Korean. It actually says two hands, tu, du, is two. 두 손을. Okay, so 손 is hand.
Okay.
Right? So let's listen to that again. Okay, here we go. That's a hard line. That's like that's a lot going on there, right?
Yeah, and you see her reach her hand
yeah,
up in
you
that
see
moment.
her reach up. 저 높이 두 손을. So like basically I reach my two hands high.
Yeah.
Is the literal meaning of 저 높이 두 손을.
저 높이 두 손을.
손을. Yep, perfect.
손을.
And then 볼더파도, like 볼더파도. That's a really hard one to say.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa.
볼더파도. 볼더파도. Yeah. And so one thing I really like from this, obviously a lot of words we can take from this. 손, we have 높이, which means like high.
Yeah.
Right? 높다 is the verb to be high.
Yeah.
And then 초 is I again, right? This is a really useful thing for somebody who's a little further into Korean, is this pwado. So it literally means, even though I tried this, right? Pwado.
Pwado.
So it's like, even though I've reached out with both my hands, is the feeling behind this.
Oh my god!
And that's what I love about this.
powerful.
It's like, even though I've reached highly, it's not like just I just reached out with my hands. It's like, no, I took my two hands and I reached them high.
I did like everything I could.
Right? And so the build-up for this is really cool. It's like, even though I reached out both my hands really high, okay?
That makes it make so much more sense.
And then this leads nicely into the next line here. Okay, so we get a couple things here, right? We get our first English line. So this was a word also that I think I'd heard before, but I didn't remember it. So first we start out with dashi, which is, again, very, very common word. You're going to hear it all the time.
Okay.
Dashi.
Dashi.
Yeah, put that in your brains. Dashi means again, right?
Again.
So dashi. And then kamkamhan, not only does it mean dark, but it means pitch black.
Really?
Right?
That word is so
It's a
cool.
very, very...
Kamkamhan.
Kamkamhan.
That's
right?
such a cool word.
It's a very, very descriptive word.
Like pitch black.
Yeah. So dashi kamkamhan igose. It's like again, right? Again in this pitch black place. That's what igose. Igose literally means like in this place, right?
Okay. So she's like, even though I reached out with both my hands,
I'm back in this pitch black place again. Right?
Ooh, that's powerful.
Right? And then it goes Light Up the Sky, right? Anyway, Light Up the Sky is the name of their upcoming documentary, which is
stoked about.
Very amped about, but very cool, right? But let's hear how she says that again.
Okay.
She says it a little differently than maybe you'd hear it because she's singing it, right?
Yeah.
But
okay.
yeah, right? So dashi. You gotta remember the dashis again.
Dashi.
And then igose.
Okay.
In this place. Goes like go. It kind of changes, but igose is like in this place. Okay, then we get
Dashi. And honestly, so far at least, Rose, her, I don't know, maybe it's because she's super fluent in English, but like I feel like her Korean like is the easiest to like understand.
Interesting.
Like
Okay.
from like a new beginner.
Right.
Like I hear her and I feel like I can like know it immediately. For some reason, her like intonation speaks to me.
Right. I love what they do here because like rhyming two different languages has got to be next level.
Seriously.
But so ne tu, remember we have two again.
Okay. Ne tu.
Nooner.
Nooner. Oh, because L or R. Okay.
Yeah. Nooner.
Ni du nooner.
Pomyo.
Pomyo.
Yeah. Okay. So literally that means as I look at your two eyes. Okay.
Yeah.
Two eyes, right? That's important. And because the translation you'll see on the websites is again like as I look into your eyes. Not entirely right if you're trying to learn the literal meanings of these things. 내 두 눈을 보며. So like as I look into both your eyes. So let's listen to that again. 내 두 눈을 보며. That's a hard one. They kind of blend together, right?
Ooh.
I'm gonna slow this down actually so we can see if we can hear it a little better.
보며.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to slow it down to be able to hear it, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like if you need to slow it down, slow it down.
Yeah.
Take some time to listen to the lyrics and really hear it, right? Because then when you hear it at full speed, it's a lot easier to hear because you're like, okay, it's subtle, but it's there.
This is another thing that I didn't anticipate, but the video like mirroring the lyrics. Right when she says I look you, like her eye contact is like to your soul.
Exactly.
And they zoom in. They almost like zoom in on her eyes, like staring at you. And the part where she sings, I look in.
And that's
both of your
that's
eyes.
exactly what I mean by understanding the lyrics and really feeling them is going to help you feel the song in kind of a deeper way.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. So
Okay.
내 두 눈을 보며 I'll kiss you goodbye. So we won't spend too much time on that one, but you see, 두 is like two again, and then 눈 means eyes.
Noon.
Noon means eyes. Another thing it can also mean, which would get confusing because you'll hear this in lyrics, noon also means snow.
Oh.
And you just got to understand the context of it, right? Like, generally it's pretty easy to tell if they're talking about eyes or snow.
Yeah.
But that's something that you'll hear.
Wait, and then what is EUL? So noon, noonyo, noonyer.
Nooner.
So eyes.
Nooner. So
Nooner.
it's a complex part of Korean, but it's essentially, we call it a object marker. It's identifying that the eyes of this are the object.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's confusing. One of my least favorite parts of Korean. Very complex, but important.
It's the object.
Yeah.
The
it's
eyes of the. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's about to speed up a little bit. I love the lyrics are really well going to match up this next part, right? This is another interesting one that I struggled with a little bit, and it's a word that is at least not too common to me, but cut. It's like, it's just not, it doesn't sound as much, I don't know. It does, I guess, but it doesn't sound like a Korean word to me as much. But essentially what this means is like this first part, cut bi usura. So 웃다 is the verb, but it's the grammar is definitely confusing on this. But like usora, like it's like almost telling somebody to laugh, right? Like laugh at me, right?
Wow.
Like the ra ending, like usora, it's like almost like a commanding. It's very powerful, like usora, like laugh at me, right?
Yeah.
So this beginning part is like cut to your heart's content, like laugh at me all you want.
Wow,
right?
that's powerful. Way more powerful than that direct translation.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like you'll see it. Let's
Usara.
watch through.
Usara.
Yeah, let's watch through like what she looks like. She almost gets a little dark right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like it starts to get more intense and more heavy, and as you understand those lyrics,
Usara.
it makes
Usara.
usora.
Usora.
Yeah.
Usora.
This last part is interesting, and I had a hard time getting the feel of it. So this part, the 걸 쳐니까, let's listen to it. 걸 쳐니까. 걸 쳐니까.
Yeah.
So 쳐니까 literally means like because it's good or since it's good. That's obviously not what she means, right? The 걸 쳐니까, like I've heard a few different translations of this, and I have a hard time. Like, I don't think I'm at the ability where I can use that in my Korean. But the translation that they say is kind of like while you still can. The other translation that I've heard of it is like because it's kind of how you are, or like it serves you right. Because like this is kind of your personality, right?
Oh,
it's
so
kind of like a
a
knock
diss.
on them, right?
Yeah.
Because like this is like who you are, right?
Yeah,
and
it's like a little jab.
It
is,
is, right?
You're that way. Like, you're the type of person to laugh and make fun of me.
Right.
Okay.
And then the translation you see on websites, which, like, I don't think I can argue with either, is kind of like, while you still can, right? And I think that is maybe more of the feeling behind it than kind of like the jab, I guess. Listen to that one more time, but then as you go into the next line, it makes more sense.
Okay.
It gets really intense right there, right?
Yeah.
EJ means like now. Okay, so that's a really good one. So you'll hear that in the very EJ 너희, this is like kind of like you or your.
Yeah.
EJ 너희 하나 둘 셋. 1, 2, 3 is literally what that means. So they're not
Hana is one.
하나, 둘.
둘,
So 둘
셋.
is a variation of 두. Depending on the context of it, it's either going to be 둘 or 두. So 하나, 둘, 셋. So
둘, 셋.
literally what this is saying, so now it's your 1, 2, 3. They never say it's your turn actually, but
Okay.
but it's implied, right? Now it's your 1, 2, 3. Like 1, 2, 3, go, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I really like this line and I like how it changes it, right? It feels really intense. Like, see how intense that gets? Like,
Yes.
now it's so before it's like first it's kind of like we start out talking about how they're at this low, and then it's like, I looked you in the eyes, but laugh at me all you want, because now it's about to be your 1, 2, 3, right? Like,
Yeah.
like implying that it's like you're up. Let's hear it one more time.
Whoa,
so you
that
can-
is
yeah.
that's intense.
They say 이제 really fast, right? It's like 이제. Yeah, so you gotta like listen carefully for that. 이제 너의 하나 둘 셋. You'll hear 하나 둘 셋 all the time. Okay, so then we're gonna get into, let's just get some of the vibe of how you like that. Okay. So now we start out.
With the rap.
Yeah, so as we get into the rap's really fun for Korean, right? But the very first line's only in English. Your girl need it all and that's 100, okay? So we can get the vibe of like kind of like what she's saying, right? This is actually wrong on here.
Really?
Well, it's not wrong. I can see what they're going for. But on the actual music video, it says 10 out of 10. It's actually not 10 out of 10. It's 100 out of 100.
Oh,
So
which is even cooler.
Baek means 100. And gay
Okay.
means like 100 things, right? So baekge,
Becke.
baekge,
Baekge.
and then 중에. 중 literally means middle, but in this context, it means baekge 중에, like out of 100. baekge 중에, you think of it out of the middle of 100, right?
Okay.
That's where it comes from,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So baekge 중에,
Becke 중에.
then she'll say baek again, right? So baekge 중에, so let's hear that. baekge 중에 baek.
She says it so fast.
Yeah,
Becke
so
중에.
fast. Incredible
Okay.
for that not being her first language.
Yeah.
내 몫을, okay? So baekge 중에 baek. So
Becke 중에 백.
yeah, so
Becke 중에 백.
out of the middle of 100, right? And then she goes in 내 몫을. So 몫을 is kind of like mine, right? So 내 몫을, like, so essentially it means like I want 100 out of 100 of my share, right?
Yeah.
So 원해. That is actually something you're gonna see in K-pop all the time, because a lot of people say like I want you.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
원해
Yeah,
means
yeah.
to want, right? So we get back into this 내 몫을 원해, like I want my share. But not only that, she's saying 100개 중에 100, like 100 out of 100, I want my share. Like basically, I want everything that's mine, right?
Yeah.
And none of it's yours. So let's listen to it so we can recognize it. 내 몫을 원해, right? She wants her.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
wants what's hers, right? Okay, we'll hear it one more time. Okay, I feel bad that she says that so fast, so this is going to be a tough one to pick up. But right after she says that, so there's 딱하지만,
Takajima. Oh, yeah.
딱하지만.
Takajiman.
This is just really good, solid Korean. The 하지만 means but.
Okay.
So 딱하지만. So it's like kind of like I feel bad, like it's bad. It's not even so much that I feel bad, but it's just, maybe it is, but it's just like, yeah, I feel bad. 딱하지만.
Takhajiman.
Yeah.
Takhajiman.
Yeah, let's listen for that part first. 딱하지만. Like she
Yeah.
says it in a unique way. 딱하지만.
Takajiman.
어쩔 수 없잖아. Okay, this is a common phrase. 어쩔 수 없잖아 means like there's nothing I can do about it. 어쩔 수 없잖아. So that's a good phrase. You might hear it like 어쩔 수 없어. It can't be helped, right?
Yeah.
어쩔 수 없잖아. Like there's nothing I can do about it, right?
Okay.
Like that's a really, really good phrase and probably one of like overall one of the most useful lines in terms of grammar and just like what you'll hear in Korean.
Okay.
어쩔 수 없잖아. Like it's almost like she's like there's nothing I can do about it. But you can tell she doesn't care, right? She's
Yeah. She's very like brushing it off.
Right.
Wow. So I got Takachiman.
딱하지만. If you took it on its own, it'd be 딱하지만. Let's see how she says it. 딱하지만. Normally, if those words were separate, it would be 하지만. But the way you pronounce it is you actually take the K from the bottom and it goes 딱하지만.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
딱하지만. So it's a little harder to hear, right?
Yeah.
Because then you're like 딱하지만, like what does that mean? But she's saying 딱하지만. Like if you were to split that up. 어쩔 수 없잖아. So that jana, whenever it ends on jana, it's like I can do nothing about it, right? Like that's the jana is kind of like the right, like 어쩔 수 없잖아. Like you like there's nothing I can do about it, right? If it was just 어쩔 수 없어 and it ended like that, then it's like there's nothing I can do about it. But the 어쩔 수 없잖아, the jana means like the 어쩔 수 없잖아 fully is just like there's nothing I can do about it, you know.
Like sorry, not sorry,
like
kind of.
right, like
yeah.
어쩔 수 없잖아. Like you know I can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's very hard. Let's hear it one more time. Let's hear it from the pro herself. 어쩔 수 없잖아. Like she really emphasizes the 절. 어쩔 수 없잖아. This is like a really nice rhyme here. I don't think it's useful for Korean because you probably don't need to know the word trigger. But she says 방아 sweater, which means trigger, right? And then she goes to English, cock back. So this one's just more important to identify. 방아 sweater.
Banga.
방아 sweater. Like she says it really fast.
Sweater. Bang.
Banga sweater, cock back.
Banga sweater.
But she does a really good job of making
Banga
that.
sweater.
Yeah. So not that important for learning Korean. Okay, so now we've heard this before, right? So before we heard the line 다시 캄캄한 이곳에. So now we're seeing it slightly different. We're seeing 또 캄캄한 이곳에, right? So the difference here is only the 다시. Remember dashi?
Yeah, again.
Okay, so 또 means like more. So 또 캄캄한 이곳에. So it's like an even darker pitch black, right? It's
really
darker, right? It's just kind of like they've changed like the again to the 또, like more pitch black in more of a pitch black place.
Okay.
Now instead of light of the sky, they've gone with shine like the stars, right? So we're seeing a slight variance. So you can feel with the lyrics and the song, like and the music video, it's all pulling back to where we started.
Yeah.
Right? We're going back to the original thought. So 도 means like more.
도.
Right? So
that's 캄캄한 이곳에.
Yeah, so 이곳에 again, in this place,
이곳에.
right? So we went from 다시 캄캄한 이곳에 to 또 캄캄한 이곳에.
또 캄캄한 이곳에.
Right? Shine like the stars.
Okay.
So it's a little different. Instead of light of the sky, shine like the stars. Let's see what's next. 금미소를. So this is a really good line, right? 금미소를. 금미소를 means like that smile. 금미소. Miso means smile. Like have you ever had miso soup?
Yeah.
I think miso soup's Japanese, but it really helps me remember smile. You have soup, you smile, right?
Yeah.
So miso means smile, but 그 means that. So that smile. 금미소.
금미소를.
Yeah, and the 르 at the end is the object marker letting us know it's the object.
Oh, that's right.
And dida literally means to wear, okay? So while wearing that smile. So This one that's probably open to your interpretation a little bit, right? Because you'd think maybe like with a smile I kiss you goodbye, but it literally means wearing that smile. And so that's open to interpretation if it means like, are you actually smiling when you kiss them, or are you
is it
just
a fake
wearing
smile?
a smile, right?
Like a fake, almost.
Yeah, but miso.
So K.
So
그.
that.
그. 미소를.
Yeah.
디묘.
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 So the myo is kind of like ending of the sentence. 디묘, like wearing.
디묘.
Yeah, so wearing that. So di.
그 미소를.
Yeah. So di
디묘.
literally means to wear, and myo is kind of just like it's not an into the sentence, but it's an into the thought, letting us know something else is coming.
Okay.
Okay, so let's hear it again. Right, she doesn't seem like it's a happy. She's not even smiling. Right?
Yeah.
It sounds like very intense.
Yeah.
But you can hear that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds very intense, and you can kind of feel it when you understand that maybe just wearing the smile, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're going to go back to this line that we've already done. You remember that one?
Same line, same
that's
exact
the
line.
same line,
So that's the only one that's been like exactly the same.
실컷
실컷. 실컷.
비웃어라
비웃어라.
꼴초니까.
꼴초니까.
Yeah, let's hear it again. Just because this is a double line. Same line again. 이제 너희 하나 둘 셋. Right? 이제, like now. Gotta remember the now. So we've already hit that.
Okay.
And then I think we get into the chorus before the final Korean lines. This line's really interesting. And we get back into kind of some of the darker days, right? So the very first word is 날개. 날개 means wings.
Okay.
날개 잃은, which means to lose or like lost. 채로.
이런 채로.
추락했던 날. So this means the day I lost my wings and fell, right? Like very powerful. Let's see how they translate it. I mean, it's pretty similar. So the day I felt without my wings is not exact to me because it doesn't emphasize that the wings were lost, right? Which is what we see here. 날개 잃은. The wings were lost and then fell, right?
Okay.
Instead of just like the day I fell without my wings, right?
Oh, so it's a little bit more like deep.
Yeah. So let's listen to how she says it. That might be the hardest line for me to hear, right? 날개 잃은 채로 추락했던 날. So the word we should probably take out of this is day, which is 날. Let's listen to that again. It's a hard one even for me to hear on the lyrics.
Yeah.
You can hear the 날, right? But the 추락했던 날, that's hard to hear. Even for me as a Korean speaker, there's a lot. 날개 잃은 채로 추락했던 날. That's a hard line.
Like 날개 잃은 채로 추락.
Yeah.
추락했던 날.
Yeah, and so that's what's hard about this to me is that, like, man, even as a Korean speaker, that's a hard one for me to get. She's fast. But you can hear it a little better, right?
Yeah.
It's a hard one, though.
And it's interesting because, like, her outfit is, like, covered in, like, feathers. It almost looks like wings.
She's got the bird style,
the bird wings.
And I don't think they emphasize that enough, that she lost her wings.
Yeah.
Not that she just doesn't have them, but that they're lost.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's so cool.
Let's go on to the next one. Okay, so then we're gonna go with the same ending here, right? You're gonna see a very, very similar thing. So 어두운, which means dark.
Yeah.
Okay. So 어두운
나날
속에.
속에.
Basically, inside these dark days, 가쳐 있던 날. Like you see 날 twice. They actually use day
Oh, and her
twice.
wings are like there.
Yeah,
In the back.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
See how like 있던 날. So we see a very similar style. 했던 날, 있던 날. It's kind of like to experience, right? Like it's past tense, right? This done that we see, 했던, 있던.
Yeah.
That's how we know it's past tense,
Yeah.
right? So it's something that's been experienced, and then it both ends with nar, which is day, right? So let's listen to those together, actually. You're going to see kind of a pattern. 했던 날, 있던 날, right? So those are very, like, these two lines very much go together, right? So again, the first line, the day that I lost my wings and fell down, and then like inside this dark days where I was trapped. Right?
Yeah.
It's very, very heavy. So let's see if we can hear it again. 어두운.
Okay, yeah, the day I lost my wings and fell, the dark days, nah.
Yeah, right. You see
Okay,
the na twice, right? And that's what it's about for me with K-pop, is just picking up these patterns slowly, right? Nobody's going to learn K-pop completely from one song.
Yeah.
But you start to pick up the patterns of what's used, and depending on what your purposes are in terms of learning Korean or just in terms of like being able to understand it, it's useful either way.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, yeah. So this is the last Korean line, and there's some really good stuff in here. 그때 means like that time. 그때. 그때쯤에. And 쯤 means like literally around. So it's just like around that time. It's kind of just a filler word probably for lyric purposes.
Yeah.
그때쯤에. Here it comes. 그때쯤에. Yeah. And then it's gonna go 넌. And then this nar is different. This nar literally means me.
Nah.
So 넌. So you, me, and then good. Do you remember good at all? It means end, the end. Okay, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Good 내다 literally means to end something or end someone, right? Good
Whoa.
내다. So 그때쯤에 넌 날 끝내야 했어. And the ya means like 야하다, like if you add 야하다, like 끝내야 하다, that means like you should have, or like you had to.
Okay.
So this line literally means, like when we watch it here, let's see how they try. Yeah, you should have ended me when you had the chance. It almost says like you, not only should you have ended me, like you had to have ended me. That was your only chance to do it, right?
Okay.
Like there will be no other opportunity.
Which makes sense because she's like rising with the wings at that time. So
Right.
that makes sense that you had a chance and you blew it.
Exactly.
Kinda.
So now you don't have it anymore. Let's listen to it.
Yeah.
So that one, those lyrics are a little bit hard to hear because you hear the music coming up, but you hear the 그때쯤에, and then it's 넌 날, you, me, essentially. Like Korean grammar is very difficult because it's just different from what we're used to. But it's like you, me, should have like you, me, right? It's like you should have ended me, right?
Yeah.
Like you had to end me then because that was your only chance to do it. Right?
Okay.
So let's just try to hear it one more time. Yeah, that last part's hard to hear. 끝내야 했어. 끝내야 했어. It's hard to hear, but she says it.
And that K sound, is the G.
Yeah.
끝내.
끝내야 했어. Okay, so then it just kind of goes back to like all powerful now, right? It's like you should have ended me then.
Because look at me now.
Because look at me now, right?
Yeah.
So That is the last Korean line in the song.
Wow, which makes sense, the wings, because then in English it says, look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane.
Right.
Wings.
The wings, right.
So, and planes have wings and birds have wings.
Exactly.
And then that line is like a Superman, like it's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superman.
Right.
So part of me was like, it's almost like, it's not a bird, it's not a plane, like it's Blackpink.
Right, it's Blackpink.
Yeah.
It's Blackpink in your area, right?
Like almost like the Wonder Women type of like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that for me kind of was like, oh, that's cool that they use that English like
Right.
kind of lingo.
Yeah, so I don't know what you thought in terms of that being like, I don't know how helpful, I don't know, you'd have to tell me how helpful that is for picking up some Korean.
Yeah.
We're starting with you from a very basic place, right?
Yeah.
But I think it is helpful to pick up some words
Yeah.
and just, phrases maybe that are useful.
Yeah. Well, for two things, I know that like I'm now picking up the specific words in the song where before it was kind of blended. It felt just like kind of a just all like mushed together,
Right.
just all these like inaudible words. But now I feel like I can pick apart each word, and I also feel like I have like a deeper sense of like the actual like feeling behind it. Because honestly, like I have read some of those lyrics that are just like a direct translation, and
Right.
you explaining this to me has me like, whoa, okay, so there's like it's way more profound and deep.
I think it helps us get the deeper feeling behind
For
it.
sure,
And like,
absolutely.
connect more with the song. And it really helps in accordance with the music video.
Yeah.
So then it becomes more of a study rather than...
Yeah,
You know.
because I feel that, like you explaining it to me, like the feeling behind it is like opening my eyes. I'm like, well, I
Right,
could
right.
watch it 10 more times and
Right.
feel like I'm, getting more out of it.
Right.
So it's, that was good job teaching.
That was a lot. That's a heavy thing to go through. So I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see how this video turns out, but I think it's going to be long.
Yeah. Well, it actually, like, what I also love about it is you describing these lyrics, because the beat of the song is, like, so intense. And so, but then when you explain, and I, like, the lyrics make it come to life to make it make sense of why the beat and the chorus is so intense, the lyrics match it.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Congratulations if you made it to the end of this video. I feel like it's like exhausting, right?
Yeah. No, it's a lot.
Yeah, but
It's
I think
good.
but I think it's really useful, and it's even useful for me to get a deeper sense of the lyrics.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if you did make it to the end of this video, let us know if you like this, what you didn't like, what the emphasis is. Could definitely use feedback on this.
Yeah. Yeah, for future videos.
Yeah, let us know if you want more of these, and we'll continue to do them, and we'll send you more information out about it.
Yeah,
Okay?
sweet.
Awesome. See you guys next time.
Thanks.